Week 3 is in the books for the most part. Well, the teams that affect the Pittsburgh Steelers played. We'll be talking about those games and how it affects the Pittsburgh Steelers and the standings in the AFC North. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget we're giving away 2 tickets to see the Steelers play live against the Vegas Raiders on December 24th. These tickets are in section 122 in the lower level. All you have to do is be a subscriber and tune in on October 30th. To when we announce the winners of those tickets live on the post-game show following the Eagles-Steelers game. More details are in the description below. But with that being said, guys, please hit that like, subscribe button. I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and welcome to the Huddle. So as I'm sure everybody's aware of, the Pittsburgh Steelers fell to the Cleveland Browns on Thursday night. 17-29, which that game was a lot closer than what the score indicated. As everybody knows, the Cleveland Browns scored in garbage time as the Pittsburgh Steelers were tossing the ball back and forth. However, the Cincinatti Bengals defeated the Jets, advancing to 1-2. So they're still behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, given the fact that the Steelers' sole victory this year was against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 1. And so Cincinnati Bengals is still number 4. Pittsburgh Steelers fall to number 3 as the Ravens beat the New England Patriots 37-26. And so the Bengals, the Ravens move up to 2-1 ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Browns are also 2-1 ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not sure who gets the tiebreaker between the Ravens and the Browns. However, after the game, there was a lot of overreaction, a lot of heat, a lot of probably misdirected hate, so to speak, towards Mr. Trubisky. It really wasn't his fault. I've watched the game all over again. Yeah, there's some open guys down the field, but if you go through every game and look at it with a magnifying glass, you're going to find receivers running down the field open on some broken plays where the design of the play that the offense is doing isn't looking towards that direction. That's just the way it is. Now, Mr. Trubisky isn't a amazing quarterback. He didn't will the Steelers to victory or anything like that like he could have. However, the loss wasn't on him. Deontay Johnson had some key drops in the game, in my opinion. Drops in moments that would have extended drives, could have put points on the board, and perhaps change the outcome of this game. And so with that being said, the defense was gashed as well. You watch them play, they didn't look like themselves. They looked tired, they looked beat. In the first half, they seemed explosive and they looked like, the championship defense that we're accustomed to seeing. And in the second half, it wasn't so much the case. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense had 3 consecutive 3-and-outs, which led to the Cleveland Browns to possess the ball for a significant amount of time, gassing out an already tired defense, a defense that had played over 100 snaps in Week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, and a defense on a short week against the New England Patriots, where, we'll be honest, they had the ball run down their throat in the final quarter there. And so, with that being said, it was a tired defense, and it showed in the second half. I think if Deontay Johnson maintains the ball a couple more times, it gives a breather to the to the defense, and perhaps that game, the outcome's a little bit different. However, we can't change that. The Browns were a better team that day. I don't come up with excuses. It is what it is. And the Pittsburgh Steelers lost. It's time to move on to the next week. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be taking on the New York Jets in Acrisure Stadium this upcoming Sunday. A Jet team that, they just got the break speed off of them by the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco has been their quarterback up to this point due to an injury to Zach Wilson's knee. Zach Wilson is expected to participate in this game and to play. I'm not too afraid of Zach Wilson, given the fact that he really hasn't participated much. So I'm anticipating him being pretty rusty. I'm not sure what I'm going to put out there as far as a score yet. I'll probably put that out here in a little later on down the week. So please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. However, I will say that I do think that the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game. Mr. Trubisky or Kenny Pickett coming in to save the day. I don't think that going up against this defense, I don't think Mr. Trubisky is going to struggle too much, and I anticipate him doing fairly well in this game. And if that ends up being the case, then Kenny Pickett won't come off the bench. But I do anticipate the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game. I anticipate that there's going to be a higher emphasis on catching the ball and also not fumbling it by Jalen Warren. And so ball security is going to be a huge emphasis this entire mini break, in my opinion, from Coach Tomlin. And so with that being said, I think that um, the Steelers are going to come in prepared, and they're going to have to do what they need to do to win. Not to look ahead, but I will say this about the following week against the Buffalo Bills. Mr. Trubisky was a member of the Bills team last year, and so he may have some, familiarity with their defense and the way they run some of their schemes and things of that nature that could help him and the Pittsburgh Steelers win. So, there was a lot of upset wins or victories this past weekend. I mean, you look at the Chiefs upsetting or getting upset by the Indianapolis Colts. The Dolphins beating the Bills, a team that everybody thought was a super powerhouse that was going to score, 30, 35 points a game. They were only managed 19 this past weekend, And so with that being said, the Jacksonville Jaguars also had a huge upset against the Chargers in Los Angeles. And so any given weekend, the Steelers have a strong defense, and I think this mini bye is going to help rest. But the Steelers are 1-2, so they're in third place. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order and say that the Ravens are going to be in second place and put the Browns in first. I think that ends up being the case because of the victory in the division. But the Ravens are 2-1. They defeated the Patriots 37-26. Patriots fall to 1-2, I believe. And that puts them tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC, if that means anything at this point. However, the Ravens are hosting the Buffalo Bills, a Buffalo Bills team that was embarrassed by the Dolphins, a Buffalo Bills team that will be looking to get back in the winner's circle, so to speak. And so I anticipate that being a favorable matchup or a good matchup for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a possible loss in the Ravens for the Steelers to, if they take care of business, to catch up and tie the Ravens back in the division. The Cleveland Browns play against the Falcons, who won their first game this past weekend, beating Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. They've been a struggle house since the season started. They haven't played very well. I think that the Browns are probably going to win this game and go on to 3-1. I don't anticipate I think the Browns are a solid team. They got a solid run game, and their defense is good. Unless they're playing up against a team that's going to be making mistakes and forcing the Cleveland Browns to move the ball down the field, it's going to be very tough to beat the Cleveland Browns. I think that Jacoby Brissett is a very sound quarterback and doesn't make very many mistakes. And when you have a running game like they do with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and an offensive line like they do, you're going to have to be able to put up some points and force that team to air it out a little bit and put the ball into Jacoby Brissett's hands. I just don't see the Atlanta Falcons being a team that's going to put up a lot of points, forcing them to also go to the air. And so I think the Cleveland Browns win that game. And the Bengals are hosting the Miami Dolphins. And so that's a game that's also, in my opinion, that the Bengals can lose to. That would push them down to 1-3 and keep them in fourth place. If the Ravens end up losing, the Bengals end up losing, that moves the Steelers up to, probably into the number 2 position, or at least tied with the Ravens. And then they got a tough game after that against the Bills themselves. And so it's going to be kind of tough. Right now the Steelers are in third place in the division. But this next week it's tough for the entire division, in my opinion, except for, it's tough for it's tough for the Ravens and it's tough for the Bengals next week. So, but it gives an opportunity for the Steelers to move ahead of the Bengals another game and to close in that gap between the Steelers and the Ravens. So, Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think that the Steelers are going to catch up this next upcoming week? You think that with Mr. Trubisky they'll fall to 1-3? If they do, I highly anticipate seeing Kenny Pickett sometime very, very soon. And in chess, sometimes the best move is sacrificing a pawn or a player or whatnot for the benefit of the victory or the team or whatever. I really don't want to sacrifice a loss and get beaten by the Jets of all teams, just a team that's struggling, and just so that we can get Kenny Pickett in there. That goes against everything in my black and gold blood, so to speak. And so I think Mr. Trubisky is going to get the job done this week. Following week against the Bills have a solid defense. It's going to be a true test for Mitch, but we'll see how it works out. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this week. Let me know what you think about the division where the Steelers stand. Do you see the Steelers moving up, going down, staying the same? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We're giving away 2 tickets to see the Steelers versus the Vegas Raiders. Also, before the game, the day before the game, on December 23rd at 3:29 p.m. at the location of the Immaculate Reception, Art Rooney and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be having a celebration out there and a memorial and a little gathering at the location of the Immaculate Reception outside of Acrisure Stadium. I highly recommend, if you're going to the game, to go check that out. That's going to be something cool. And then once you go, if you win these tickets and you're at the game the following day on the 24th at halftime, you're going to be a part of history. It's only the third player in Steelers history to have their number retired. Number 32 will be retired at halftime. You don't want to miss it. First step is hitting that subscribe button. So that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and peace.